What's going on, everyone? I'm Daniel Rodriguez, and welcome to my non-spoiler review for the latest Oliver Stone film, which stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Shailene Woodley. It is based on a true story titled Snowden. Now, Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Shailene Woodley are the two leads in this biopic. Obviously, this film is based on a true story. On a man named Edward Snowden. It literally was a big thing a few years ago, like in 2012, 2013. It was the number one thing on the news for many, many weeks. He worked for the CIA, NSA, etc., 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 and he ended up leaking out information that the government was spying on all of us in America. So in real life, there's a debate going on whether is Edward Snowden a villain, as in is he a bad person, is he a traitor to the United States, is he a traitor, or is he a hero for letting us know that they're listening into our conversations, they're watching us through webcams. So Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays Edward Snowden, and throughout the whole film, I thought he was great. He has the look down, and he also had the voice down. Mind you, when I saw the promos for Snowden and I heard his voice, like the deep voice that Edward Snowden has, I was thinking to myself, this is going to be really stupid. Like, Gordon-Levitt just phoning it in. But no. Once I actually saw the film, I was like, okay, from real Edward Snowden to Joseph Gordon-Levitt's like pretty identical. Now, while some of the story is good in this movie, some of the characters are not written that well. But my favorite thing out of the whole entire movie, besides Joseph Gordon-Levitt's performance as Edward Snowden, is the cinematography. Now, Shailene Woodley's character, who played Edward Snowden's girlfriend, she really didn't have that much to do except be like, either they're arguing, or she's like, I love you, Edward, oh, blah, 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 politics, politics, politics. And she was not written that well, but the whole chemistry, like, between Gordon-Levitt and Shailene Woodley, like, their chemistry worked very well on screen. Now, the majority of people who see this film obviously know the basics of, the CIA looking in on us and, everything that Snowden leaked out, we kind of know the basics. But going into this film, actually going behind the scenes and looking at, like, how far they can go and reading our emails and reading our text and, all this stuff that they could go into, it is very scary, the aspect and the way that the way Edward Snowden reacts to it. And there's so much they have on every single person, and you don't know who's looking at it, like what worker's looking at it. They could be a perv, they could be going to people's different webcams. It's an actual scary thought. Now, one of my favorite characters in here was played by Ben Schnetzer, and he played Edward Snowden's friend. His character was decently written, and I'm kind of sad that he didn't have more scenes. He's only in like 3 or 4 scenes at most, and they're I found it the most enjoyable with those scenes between him and Edward Snowden. But there are also like very, 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 very slow scenes where you could easily pick that out and you're like, do we really need to see this? Do we really need to see that? Do we need to see that? Okay, I can see that. That's important right there. But do we really need to see this? Like, there's really scenes where you could pick it out and you're like, okay, I'm not nitpicking, I'm actually being serious. There are scenes where you're like, that's not really necessary. Oh, he's just arguing with his girlfriend. Really, like, there was a strong moment between him and Shailene Woodley that was perfect, but there are other multiple scenes where you're like, that's not needed, you could have cut that shorter. And not trying to be a diva or anything, but it is true, like, 2 hours and 15 minutes long, it got stale after a while. Like, certain scenes were interesting, certain scenes were very entertaining, and then others were just slow-paced. Now, Zachary Quinto, Melissa Leo, and Rhys Ifans are in this film, and again, the characters are the weakest things about this film. A lot of characters are just written very poorly, and they did decent jobs, as acting-wise. They didn't do, give them an Oscar for this, Rhys Ifans was fantastic, blah, blah, blah. No, they weren't. They were just, okay. Rhys Ifans, almost in a way, like if he was a villain, like he had this one scene where you're like, is he supposed to be a villain? I mean, he felt very off in certain scenes. Now, Timothy Olyphant is in this film, and by God, is he wasted. Now, Nicolas Cage is in this film, and again, another weak character. He gives a decent performance, but he's only in here for like 4 minutes, and well, basically, when you watch the film, you're like, that's Nicolas Cage. You don't even see him as his character. You're just like, that's Nicolas Cage. Also, I already mentioned earlier that there are multiple scenes that are very slow paced. Now, I saw this film almost 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry I'm 2 weeks late to give my review out, and that's my fault, but it's true. I'm trying to think back, and I was looking at the trailers, and I was, remembering in my head, and a lot of scenes in here are quite forgettable. Like, there's a big chunk of the film that's just forgettable. Now, I would say the only good and interesting aspect to this film is Joseph Gordon-Levitt, his portrayal, the facial hair, the voice, the cinematography, and the backstory behind Edward Snowden, as well the learning of the NSA and them spying on us and even spying on other countries. All that is the interesting stuff. And I know they made Snowden as a character. He is a real man. He had a relationship. He has this. He has that. And he lost all of it because now he has to go and, he had to go into hiding. That's known facts. That's not a spoiler. That is known facts. But the thing is they kind of gave us filler things in the middle, like this that we didn't need to know or we don't really care, this and that and that and that and that and that. That's important, that's not important. If you're taking too much time on that, you could cut the movie to 1 hour and 45 minutes instead of a 2 hour and 15-minute film. Like, you literally could have cut down many, many scenes. Basically, what I'm trying to say is there's a huge percentage, a huge chunk of this film that's just filler. Now, it's not Oliver Stone's best film, but it's not his worst film. I'm going to give Snowden a 6.6 out of a 10. Snowden is an okay drama with a great leading man, great cinematography, and a really good backstory, but the other stuff are just kind of the weak characters and slow scenes and just etc of that matter. Even if I would have saw this opening day, I still would have told you guys that it's best to wait for rental. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed, make sure to smack that like button. You can comment down below to me what you guys thought about the episode. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Have you seen the film? And what did you think about Snowden? Share this review with your friends. Hit that subscribe button for more awesome movie reviews every single week. Upcoming, The Magnificent Seven, Deepwater Horizon, and Storks. Till next time, join the Big D Nation. All you have to do is just smack the subscribe button. Again, till next time. Bye-bye.